Okay, wait. I just want to full screen this. We can. Okay. Good morning, everyone, and happy Sunday. This is episode 3 of the Sundays Are for Contemplation podcast. I'm your host, Sophia.
And I'm your host, Nicole.
And there's Mariano as well, but he decided not to introduce himself.
He's shy.
About that. Mariano. I'm one of the other founders of Light and Hope Foundation.
We finally got him on here with us. Thank God. We missed him so much.
Every day we talk about Mariano as if he's been long gone. We miss you so much. Where is he?
Thank God for technology.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, Mariano, maybe you want to introduce yourself, because Soph and I have yapped for the last 3 episodes about ourselves, and I think you may.
So I'll take something along those lines. So Mariano Cuartas. Live in the U.S., Boston more specifically. Parents are Colombian, so I have that Hispanic and Latino root as the rest of us. I studied business. I didn't really have much of a connection to art. And when I went to study abroad in 2022, and then that's when I got before I would say. I went and studied in Florence, so in the day I didn't know that was the home of the Renaissance, but once I got there, I felt it.
So how did you end up in Florence? Like, how were you just like, you knew nothing of it, and then you just were like, okay, Italy? Or
so back then I liked Italian people, like the food and this culture, what I knew of the culture. So that was one of the universities, and I was like, it's a small town, like not small town, but like the city center was pretty small, so I liked it. It was commutable. So I was just like, you know what? Why not Florence? There was no really wasn't making decisions on colleges, like when you're like, oh, I'm gonna rank these and then pick which one. It was just like, I think I like Italy. Let's just go there.
Well, I'm glad that happened, because we would have never met.
Yeah, I like the why not of it all.
I think that's very much our energy.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Soph and I are thinking about being nomadic next year.
Yeah. We were thinking, because we could do, 3 months in my home country, Argentina. Then we do 3 months in Mexico, which is Nicole's home country. And then we do 3 months in Colombia, Mariano's home country. So to our Latin American community, we're gonna come visit you guys. You better be prepared.
We have to do 3 months somewhere else in the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if anyone wants
to host us.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like all of our energies are pretty good this morning, but I did actually have a little chance to journal today, and I wanted to bring this up because now to get into the more deep stuff a little bit. I wrote this quote in my notes that says, "What I say I do ends up becoming who I am." It's something recent that I've been kind of reflecting on about the way that I at least personally operate, which is that I sometimes struggle with committing to my word a lot. Or it's not that I struggle with it, but if I don't commit to something that I do, I feel like people will always judge you on what you say and then the actions that you follow up with it on. And I feel like with the foundation, since it's really kind of just started to kick off a bit, and we've been super proactive with getting doing many meetings, the podcast, trying to keep up with posts and everything. There's a lot of commitments that are all of a sudden kind of piling up at the start, at least, I think, for us. And so for me, trying to find that balance between my personal life, work, foundation stuff, it's all of a sudden I found that I don't have enough time for everything that I say I'm going to do. And that philosophy then of what I'm saying I'm going to do dictates who I am, it doesn't necessarily ring true anymore. I don't know if you two have any thoughts on that, if you guys even understand what I'm trying to say right now.
I kind of understand what you're saying. That you feel like when you don't set out everything you want to do, you feel like you're kind of cheating yourself out of it. Is that what you're saying? Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the same way. But to me, to a certain extent, My problem is I always am thinking long term. And I mean, I think it's a pro in this in the situation of the foundation because I like a creative brain, so I'm like, okay, guys, this is what we're gonna do with it. But then I realize I don't enjoy the process in the present and like not even the well, yeah, like what you said, like the things like the little tedious tasks that we have to do to get this started. I get overwhelmed because I just don't like to think about that stuff, and then I also can't. I forget to sometimes enjoy the good things that are in like the process and even like the outcome. Like for example, like our exhibition last week. See, I can't make concepts of time. Um, but yeah, I think I would agree with that. Like, I feel like that's when I start feeling like burned out. Is I don't know. Like for me, thinking of the future kind of relieves the stress. But yeah, no, these. I think it's also like seasonal depression, but I think we're all feeling the burnout right now.
Yeah. Well, Mariano, you said the other day that you weren't feeling that at all, right?
I feel like to some extent, but I'm also the type of person who likes to push along and finish. So I don't know if there's a finish line. So I feel like eventually I'll feel burnt out. Right now, there's like a hey, let's get to that finish line, even though I know there's no finish line.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like the finish line is there, but then once you get even closer, it just like keeps getting
Just
further and further.
rises.
So
So
it's like, yeah, concepts of a finish line.
Concepts of a finish line.
I like what you said, Nicole, where it's like you kind of don't feel no. It's not that you don't feel satisfied, but it's almost like oh, did that exhibition. You almost feel like okay, we did it. Like what's next? So I think there is also a part of focus on like trying to feel satisfied and be like, we did that, we blew it out of the park, we met these people, and kind of have like those goals that we can meet, and when we meet them, we make of like celebrating them as well. I think like that can help like with burnout and actually feeling like accomplished and feeling like you're making an impact and not just doing this as a fun project.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Mhm. And I was also thinking too, like just our social batteries. Like for me, I've always considered myself to be like an extroverted person. I think when I was younger, I was a shy extroverted person, and then I really got out of that. But like in the last, like for example, right after the exhibition, because like when you host one, it doesn't just stop like the night that it happens. Like you have to do the setup, take everything down. Like you have met new people, so like you're making those connections. So it's like it extends for a few
Well, yeah,
days.
even before the event, like all of the collectors and like kind of meeting with everyone and the artists and yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
So like in my case, I had to tell these two like I need like 2 3 days of like just not doing any work, like not being on socials because I my brain was literally like I could not take it
And just
anymore.
so you get kind of a clear picture of how much of workaholics we are, she said 3 days. The next day she was like, I need to respond to these emails. I was like, dude, like stop, chill out. Like I'll do it.
It just like calms me down sometimes to work, which is like it's ironic because I'm super stressed and then I'm like, okay, wait, what is going to calm me down?
I feel like it might just be cultural of us, you guys, because like the same for me when I'm like I'm stressed, like or like anything, I just like clean. Like I just clean my home. I just clean every deep clean things. It's like my way of procrastinating. But I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know, like the I don't know, like my mom would always say like,
Mm.
si estás aburrido, ponte a limpiar. Like if you're bored, like do something productive. And
I
so I think like
I
I don't know
feel
how to rest.
well. That's how I was in like high school and college. Whenever I would try to procrastinate, try to productively procrastinate. So I would do other smaller stuff or do like clean my room and be like, I'm not doing my homework because I'm cleaning my room. So it evens out. It doesn't matter. So I, I feel that one.
I also like all of this though, like for me, like it became such like a mental like stress to me. I actually think I have OCD. But then the other day I was thinking about how like my therapist always says that I have a problem with wanting to diagnose myself, and I'm like, okay, maybe I just like am getting back into that habit again. So
I think you just needed to take 2 days off and you did it and now you're better. And then what this is a funny thing though, like once she got out of her burnout, then I started getting into my burnout and I was like, I'm so tired. But I also got sick. Also like this is where I'm saying where like I need to learn to chill out because every
mm,
exhibition we ever worked in, I always get sick the night of. I mean, granted I usually don't sleep because of the socializing part of it.
yeah, she does not sleep.
And there is a lot of social beverages. I'm trying to say this so I don't sound like an alcoholic.
We're a little bit of an alcoholic group,
Yeah.
maybe. Mariano isn't, but maybe us too.
We can also that kind of reminds me of that conversation we had about how like again culture. We were like a glass of wine, just like and like sharing a meal and like snacks or whatever like that best, and like having a drink
Hmm.
with people just kind of creates this like relax. I mean, besides the alcohol, but like it just creates like the environment where people could just like talk and be
Hmm.
very like open about stuff.
Well, it's like
We've had
I
stuff
hate
like
I
that,
hate
but
to use this word, but alcohol is like a social lubricant. Like kind of gets everything flowing, you know what I mean? Like everyone's more willing to speak.
yeah,
On that, I feel like it's also like us as humans, we need something to do as we're talking. Like I'm literally fidgeting with something in my hands right now. So like we need something to do while we're talking. So having that like bite in your hand and like or having that drink in your hand, it's just like is the fact that you're talking.
yeah,
That's so true. That also reminds me of like I remember again like the first exhibition that I was hosting in Madrid last year for Treinta Campos. I just had a glass of wine in my hand the entire night. And this is like for hours. And at the very end, I think someone actually had bought a piece or something and they came up to me and there's like, hey, like, how do we like do like XYZ procedure? And I had a moment of shock that I was like, oh my God, like I should have drank this much wine. But it's like I hadn't been conscious of it. I had just had it in my hands. And when you're
yeah.
talking to people, you're taking sips. Like,
No, that's how I felt like on this exhibition, like last Friday. Like it started at 5:30, and obviously we were just I had like my wine, just chatting, walking around. Flash forward, it's 10 p.m. I've been drinking for 5 minutes, and by that point, I was everyone's best friend, and
well, this is kind of, sorry.
You just like what also causes like some of that burnout is like going to these events, staying out late, not being able to like really let your body recover. And even if you
yeah,
do get a full 8, 9 hours of sleep, some of that might be induced by like alcohol, where you're like waking up and you're like feel awful. So
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like a day of actual sleep could make you like help you catch up, but then also like it's important to I guess for you guys like take a spa day or something and just enjoy.
Yeah. No, I was thinking like coping mechanisms. Like for me, one that's really healthy is like I love to journal, for example, or like I like to go to the gym. Like I have like the physical outlet and the mental outlet. My only problem is that because at this point in my life, I'm balancing like going to actual like work on top of the foundation thing in the morning. Like I get up, change, eat my breakfast, and I go straight to work. Like I don't have that at least half an hour block of time to be able to like write my thoughts and reflect and at least get that like mental load off. And that's just like a personal thing. Like I'm not complaining because I know this is gonna like in 1 month I'm not gonna have the same schedule. But that's also something. It's
yeah.
just
And then you're gonna
like
be like, "Oh, so bored. I need to do more things." Like this summer, when you're like, "I need to do
yeah,
something," and I was like, "Just," I was told, and I told you, I was like, "Just wait. September is gonna be a roller coaster." Anyways, we're ready for Christmas break. We
yeah.
are ready.
But what are you two guys coping mechanisms? I'm curious.
Mine is cleaning. I like it's really bad, but I feel
That's
like
good.
if my space, if my like life around me isn't organized, then like the inside can't be organized. It's like
I
my
agree.
mentality. And
So
cooking, I really enjoy cooking.
I feel like every time we're on a call, you're always cleaning. So I guess you're always
I'm crazy. I think it's just like my mom and my grand. Like it's just. I remember like every like Thursday when I was a kid, like she'd be like it's cleaning day, and like she would make us like scrub toilets, like everything. Like not child labor, but we were doing it all. And
or chores or chores.
yeah, like chores. No, but that's the thing. But like chores are like people are like, oh, like yeah, like I need to make my bed and blah blah blah. Like my mom would is like crazy like me, and I see like my entire house is white. Her house was the same. She was like, and my grandma and my great grandma, like it's just been always like white homes, and she's always like they like it white because you can see if something is dirty. And I like have this vivid like memory of being like a 7 year old and my mom grabbing like a little trapo, a
Rag.
rag, and she was like clean the wall. You know, because she was like your little child's fingers, like the oils, and so that's how crazy she was. She was like, "The wall is dirty, like clean it." Like that's what
That
I mean.
I have a memory right
I'm
now.
like this too.
a random memory of like my cousin and I eating lunch, and for some reason she got so annoyed. And we had this like bowl of like sweet potatoes, like mashed potatoes in front of us, and she like threw the spoon up in the air, and like there's sweet potato on the fucking ceiling, and I come back like 6 months later and there's still sweet potato on the ceiling, and I'm just like, my cousin, I love you, Lourdes, but that was a crazy moment in time. Maybe she didn't throw the spoon up, but like she like went like that, and you know.
Yeah, but this is like, while your cousin was like making the messes, my mom was like cleaning up, and so like now I'm like insane, and if things aren't perfect, my brain can't be at peace.
Mm.
Like I woke up today, and because we have a guest coming over today, and my brother's staying with me right now, and oh my god, man, sometimes he knows how to clean because he went through the process of it with me, but they just like to do this thing where they act like they don't know what you're doing until they don't know. Yeah, like they don't know what they're doing, so then you get annoyed and then you do it for them, and like just Latino
Mm.
men. I don't know if you have an older brother, you might experience this as well. Anyways, back to the burnout. Not to give you guys our childhood traumas.
So we're talking about coping.
Soap's cousin and my
Wait,
cleaning.
wait, wait. What?
We're just talking about our coping mechanisms.
Yeah,
I guess that's yours, Nicole, is
a
just
really
cleaning.
messed up, sickly. Yeah, but I had to give context. Okay, like it's like I'm crazy for a reason. Yeah. Anyways, what's your coping mechanism?
Environment around you, it's not you. I don't know. I don't really. I think my coping mechanism is just stay busy with something else. So, kind of similar to Nicole, where it's like I just have to be doing something. I've like I'm like so sad aside self-diagnosed HD, I guess. I like can't stay still. I once went to like a spa and a sauna and everything, and it like stressed me out not being able to do anything. I was not enjoying it. I was sitting there just sweating in a sauna, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Can I like leave now? Can like what am I supposed to feel or something? I couldn't feel anything. I was just like to
He
get out.
was numb.
I was sweating and I was just anxious to get out of there. I feel like that plays a role into like myself, my coping because it's just like people count as relaxing. I don't find it relaxing.
Yeah.
And another example is like since we're in different time zones, you guys are 6 hours ahead. Text in the group chat and I'll see a text at like 3 in the morning when I'm just waking up out of nowhere randomly, like answer or something, and I'm like, I'm not awake yet, but just answering, just reading these through. So
Yeah, sometimes I like go to work and it's like I'm on the metro or something, and I send something in the chat and Mariano responds, and it's again 3 a.m. and I'm like, you should be sleeping. But I
So,
appreciate it.
moral of the story is we are not the good people to get advice from about burnout because we have our coping mechanisms. They're probably not the healthiest.
No, they are. I feel like relative to other ones, they're pretty healthy. I mean,
Okay.
being active, cleaning, that
I
these
think
are pretty
okay.
healthy.
Let's. Yeah, I guess it's healthy. I guess it's kind of boring, is what I'm saying. I don't know.
Well, it's unhealthy if we approach it unhealthily, like if it's like the whole, relying on these coping mechanisms a crutch for other things. But I'm
Yeah,
like,
I guess not. I think it's just like a way to distract yourself for a bit. Mindless tasks are nice.
mhm.
But no, I mean, okay, honestly talking to you guys, even though like we're like dealing with all of this stuff, like yeah, I think you guys helped me with my burnout cuz we're all like freaking out and then we're like, okay, we're all in this together and
Mhm.
that kind of eases the stress, I feel, no.
It does.
Like our conversations or walks.
remember the other day, me and Soph were talking about this that we'll literally be doing separate tasks, maybe not even related to like our foundation, but we'll just be on FaceTime, not even talking to each other, and it's just like having that person in the background where you're
Yeah.
like it puts you at ease where you're like, oh yeah, I'm working, but I'm not alone working on this. Though we're not in the same room, we're not talking right now, but like you just have it on, and you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna talk. And I have done that with other friends too. Like I'll be working and have my phone on FaceTime, or just have my door open to feel the presence of my dog and be like, I'm not alone working on this.
That's like the human connection, It's like we
Yeah.
need people.
I
We
think
need
I
community.
I think this phenomenon is actually called like parallel play or something like that, because it's like it's just like if you, when you're at a library working by yourself and everything is silent, you can't even talk to the person next to you, but you guys are both working on something. It's exactly that, like kind of.
I've even seen like people of like on TikTok where they're like, oh, like put like a YouTube video of like someone that comes in like dressed like a mom to like watch you while you're studying. So it feels like someone's watching you,
That's a
and
little
people. No,
disturbing.
it is, but it's like it's true. It's like funny. I don't know. We're social creatures. What can
It's
we
funny
say?
though. I feel like I could never go to a library and work. So it's like different because I kind of sometimes I need like YouTube on or just that like noise in the
White
background
noise. Yeah.
and not like in my headphones. I need it like playing out loud where I can like echo.
Mm.
I'm like, all right, well, I
Are you the type of people that could work in a cafe or you need a quiet space? Cuz I'm totally like if I'm in a busy place and I just have my headphones in, like I'm more focused than if everything is just quiet sometimes.
I think it depends what I'm doing. If I have to write like essays or think like very, I don't know. I think it depends.
I feel like I'm the type of person that just needs my personal space. Work outside of my this, but I feel like I'm in my office. I like focus more in just my space. I honestly haven't been the person to go to a cafe or library and like there. I feel like I wouldn't be able to focus one because there's too many people around. So I'd just be
Mm.
interested more in what they're doing than what I'm doing. Yeah.
What was I gonna
I have
say?
a question.
Ask.
What are those shirts? I didn't get them.
Yeah.
Thanks for
This
asking.
is Soph's comment about how she hates people that just consume. And
Okay, I don't hate
no,
people
she
that
does.
just
She
consume.
despises
So
consumerism.
it's kind of ironic though because we did buy these shirts and I thought it'd just be cute. I like them. I love creating art, real. But no, it's actually what Nicole was saying. It's just that it's one of my personal icks or like pet peeves in people
She despises.
when they just
Yeah.
solely like when they solely consume. Like you can tell when a person is just like all day kind of like consuming media or like material things, whatever. Like I feel like it's just
Or other people's creativity. Because
true.
you've talked like about how you've said that you feel like sometimes you have been your brain has been used as entertainment.
Yeah, because when this came up in conversation the other day, it's just something that I've noticed a few times in like my like interpersonal relationships with other people. How I've had friends say like, "Oh my God, Sophie, like I love your brain. Like it's so fascinating. Like I just want to pick your brain." It's such a beautiful compliment, but at the same time, I just can't help but feeling like I was the entertainment for those people. Like I was like the court jester or something, and I'd rather like be around people that instead of just like kind of consuming what I have to like provide to the conversation or something can bounce off of that.
Or say equally as crazy things.
Exactly.
Like me.
And so this all ties together because it's just like I like people who are able to like create and like transform. I think I talked about this in like the past two podcast episodes, but like the concept of alchemy, like people who are going through something, if they're able to transform that into something else and create something new, like to me, that's such a fascinating, like, I see a person who has that quality and I'm like, I want you. Like, let's hang out. Let's talk.
Hence the
And
shirts.
just for reference, the shirts do say "I love creating art." But
We
we said
are.
that, so whoever's
Well, Soph
listening,
is a poet. I'm not an art. Well, I'm I guess I don't say retired artist, but I
A
used to do
dancer.
classical ballet for like 18 years, and that was fun. But it was a lot. But I think, I mean, for me, like my creative like process now is creating. I mean, guess this foundation, like a lot of the philosophy, or not, I don't want to say philosophy, but like the missions and the values that are kind of, I guess the whole and the concept of like how we want to help people and basically challenging like these systemic and complex problems of the world is just like how my creative brain is being utilized now. So in its own way, it's kind of art. I like to
Good.
think.
and as I was saying like before, I didn't really care for art. We're going to Florence, and then that's where I started like consuming all of it. I guess enjoying and relating and being a creative art person. So I like feel like I'm not the person to actually have a artistic bone in my body. But it's funny because I in high school I took like black and white images on film camera. And they're like the favorite images that I've ever created. I actually have them hung up in my wall and everything. So whenever I'm like working, it's actually over there, like in front of me. So whenever I'm working, I'll like look and then be like, I'm not an artist. Like how, why? Sometimes I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm not an artist. Like sometimes I can't relate. And then I'll look over and I'm like, I'm creative. I created those. Like maybe I don't count myself as an artist, but I have some creativity to myself.
Well, I mean, I think the human mind craves creation, and I don't know. Like, I feel like everyone does create things, and there's to a certain extent. I think yeah, there's such thing as a fine art, and I mean, like you said, like you don't consider yourself an artist because of this, and sure, like we have to give credit where credit's due to the artists that have gone through like a lot of training
Hmm.
and traditional, you know, um, yeah, and that have gained like certain knowledge. But I think we still shouldn't discard people's creativity. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
I mean, I just think everybody like has the capacity to be creative, and I think everyone can become an artist, but not everyone is one, and it's okay for certain people not to be either. But I just think also like being a creative person is something that exists in everyone in some sort of fashion. Like you could literally be working a 9 to 5 job, be indoors all day, but like what might bring you passion is like creating this structure in your life that you like, or like I don't know, even if you're organizing something for your family or you're cooking or like creativity has many different outlets. I just think for me, it's I back relating back to my personal ick because I also believe in the society. I had a sorry, side note, conversation with one of my coworkers the other day, Camila, who is such a bright mind. I would literally love to even have her on the podcast one day.
I met her last weekend. She's super cool.
Yeah, she came to the expo and she's really
We
nice.
had a little bonding when we were talking to two artist friends of mine, and we were just
Mhm.
like, "You guys are the future." We, mind you, I was like down with some wines. I was like literally about to start sobbing, and I was like, "Please continue making art. We need more artists. You guys are."
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry.
No, it's okay. Um, but basically, she was saying how she thinks our generation focuses too much on trying to do things. Like, that there's not a lot of people who are able to just sit with themselves and feel whatever it is that they have to feel and be okay with that. And so I really like what she said because it even kind of like took me down a little bit from being like, oh, like I like people who just create whatever. But regardless, the whole point of what I was trying to say is that it makes me kind of sad in people when I see that they've become so like complacent by just this constant consumption because I think it's just a problem that everyone knows now that like for example constantly scrolling on social media or whatever like it's just feeding you dopamine. And for me I see people like I witness people around me or like kids, that have just gotten they haven't been forced to create because at the end of the day creating is an action that you need energy to do, and a lot of people either haven't been taught how to do that or just you know what I mean, like I think that's like something that deserves a little more time and attention in today's society to really be thought out. Like how are we, you know dealing with this issue right now?
Well, yeah, no, I totally agree. I feel like we need more creativity in individuals in general because I think this is how we fix a lot of the issues in society. If people can't think outside of the box or think, well, first of all, they need to be able to analyze what's going on. And so, in that sense, I guess you do have to consume and understand like what's going around you, like what's happened before you, what's happening now, like why things are happening. But then afterwards, you have to have creativity to change these things. So again, like I said, it doesn't just extend to art, but it can extend to anything like starting a business, starting a nonprofit, working in politics, even being a doctor, doing research, being academic. Like
Hmm.
you have to have certain level of creativity. And I feel like a lot of I don't know, I have a lot of friends that are like in business and they're like, oh, art is just like not my thing and like I don't know and like I mean, I think it is also like a, how do I say, I don't want to say a closed off world, but it does feel a little bit far from for people that don't know about art. They might get a little intimidated to go into it. But regardless, I think, yeah, they just see art as something that's just, I don't know, like something that is not for them. And the way of thinking that goes into art is not something that they could ever reach. And I think that is so incorrect. I think we need to have more creative thinkers in the world.
I mean, I relate to that because that was me. I would just close minded, like, I can't create art. Sometimes I would see some art that I didn't see the value to it. And those pieces were the ones that like influenced me to just close myself off and be like, it's not for me. People would be like, oh, I like art, this and that. I would be like, yeah, I don't really like art. And then just seeing everything, and now I consider myself being into art. And the reason behind that is more like emotionally. I like to have a connection with pieces. So, actually telling an artist the reason I collect most of my pieces is yes, obviously, visually they're pleasing and I like them. Also, I want to have a connection with those pieces, and so that one day it goes to zero, the value goes to zero. Um, care about the money. I'm not here for trading art. I'm here because that piece has a meaning to me. It's not just, oh, I like the way it looks. It's I like the way it looks and have a story behind it. So I like hearing the artist's stories, creating my own story, and then seeing if our stories line up. Obviously, I'm not going like, oh, if our stories line up one for one, I'm buying it. But if it doesn't, I'm not buying it. But it is like I like seeing how my story of that piece can relate to their story. Just roll with that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's but that's like a how do I say, like a lesson you kind of learned through. I guess Florence is a perfect place to learn about art. You kind of forced into it, but yeah. But I mean, I think it's amazing that you were able to create this mindset for yourself and to build these connections with artists. But unfortunately, like I said, like and you, like as you know, it can be intimidating. You know, at it like I mean, art is to a certain extent a bit like elitist. It's not accessible to a lot of people, and I mean that's something we hope we can work on and
Hmm.
I feel like
have
the
more people, yeah, appreciate and just interact. Honestly, you interact with an artist and you realize. I think I don't know. I mean, yeah, like I've worked in the gallery before, and it is a little scary, like going into the galleries. Like people know what they're talking about. I think when you actually talk to the artist creating the art, they're so like down to earth and just human. I think that that's what you're saying. Like it's just it takes away the pressure because you this like human connection that we're talking about, like being able to
Hmm.
like connect with someone, just adds so much value. Besides like the aesthetically pleasing aspect of it, and I think like this is how we kind of have to start tackling this elitist issue within art. I don't know. This is
Hmm.
my opinion.
Well, sometimes even I have like a little issue with like the whole industry itself because I even had someone last year ask me like, "Hey, like, isn't this super pretentious? Like what you're doing?" Like fully, he asked me that, which I feel like a lot of people might think it but not say it. And I told him we're like, yeah, like like a lot of people have that opinion, but like when you actually connect with the artist, see what they have to share, and like the conversations that are created from it, like it stops becoming pretentious, and you start realizing that like everyone is connecting with this in some sort of way, and it means something to them, and it's just like I don't know, these like second, third like perceptions that we have on art. That's not just like like what it is. Sorry, that whole thought's
What do
confusing.
you mean by like like what do you mean by like pretentious? Like in what we do,
Like the person who was asking me, he was
like working
like
practices.
creating an exhibition, like hosting something for art, like connecting the space. Like it's just like honestly his comment haunts me. But it was like he just thinks all of it is pretentious, you know what I mean? Like I think it's to an extent where he thinks like if you have the luxury to talk about art, to work in that field, then you're not focused on like things that actually matter to like the everyday
Which
person.
I think is probably the stupidest thing you could say because exactly to what I just told you about, we need more creative brains, and it starts with the artists. They're the
Mm.
ones that are changing the world. they are the ones that are reflecting our society,
Mhm.
creating this. I mean, you consume art every day, like the
Yeah.
architecture, the streets. I mean, yes, you go to a museum, traditional art
Yeah.
sense, the cars, engineering, like anything that is created by humans
Like crafted.
is crafted by us. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's a
Mhm.
closed-minded like
This
perspective. Like,
also leads me to like another kind of thought on this is just like the fact that I am a person that I love doing things with intention. Like the other day it was Thanksgiving and me and my roommate were like, "Oh, like what are we going to wear? Are we going to dress up in pajamas or like are we going to put on a dress and like look cute?" And I told her I was like, "You know what? Like let's put on nice dresses. Like let's do this with intention because of course we could just like be wear pajamas and be cozy, but there's also another added layer of like let's create this action to look a certain way and feel nice and do this." And like that's with art, like when you're like, for example, like I love when a home has, I don't know exactly what they're called, but like on the ceilings, like is it the molding or something, like there's some apartments that I've seen that have such beautiful like decorated like molding,
The
I don't
crown
know.
molding or something like that.
Yeah, which I know for some people it's also like a controversial choice, whatever. But like it's so much beats like just popcorn ceilings, you know? And it's like again, some people may not have the privilege to choose what to like have in their home. Something is more accessible than the other, but I'm talking about this whole idea of craftsmanship and being intentional with what you do, like seeing
yeah,
something.
but sorry to interrupt what you're saying,
No,
but
go.
even if you can't afford to have like these luxurious looking, I don't know, like the ceilings in your home. I mean, I feel like some of the most creative people I've met have been people from lower incomes, and like they have to be creative and they have to be artists, and their
Mm-hmm.
homes are still like done beautifully, but just in their own way. So that's where like
Mm-hmm.
this like
Intention.
yeah, it's the intention. It's like maybe I don't have as much as this other person, but I still am going to live a life with beauty and
I think it was like I always forget who it was that wrote this, but I think maybe it was like Immanuel Kant or something. But one of his like seven, what is it? Like one of his seven human needs was that aesthetics was a part of that. And when that was in my legal thought class that I had in my freshman year of my undergrad law degree. When I realized that I was studying that in a law class, I was like, whoa, like this is a lot deeper, I guess.
well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like we naturally create, and art is important. Summary, what we're saying, and yeah, we need to get more people need to be artists. So if you see me at another exhibition talking to artists and like sobbing, just know like this is kind of the conversation that I'm having. Apologies to my friends.
I had something else to say, but I really forgot what it was. Dang it.
Well, also like on the thing, well, yeah, to the art, like seeing I don't know, like to the connection of buying art and knowing the artist. I think it's also really fun seeing them like in their journeys. I think it's probably one of the things that I enjoy the most. Like Franco, for example, he's an artist that's
Shout
a friend
out.
of ours, and we exhibited him for the first time in here in Madrid a year ago, and we
Mm,
basically onboarded him. He's just classical painting. We onboarded him, kind of taught him how to use blockchain, mint his first piece, and it's been crazy to see. Well, I went on exchange, so I haven't seen him in a while, and he came to the exhibition. We were just chatting, and he was like, "Yeah, like this is just amazing to see." I don't know, like I almost like started also crying in this moment because he was like, "Yeah, like your exhibition was like the first thing that pushed me to
oh yeah,
believe that I'm a real artist."
I did get to talk to him
Yeah,
about that.
no, no,
Wow.
he was just like, yeah, like if this is the first exhibition that I actually ever did, and it
Mm,
like made me realize like I wasn't just doing this for fun, like I could actually like do this. And he was telling me about how like his journey and how he's already done a solo exhibition and how he's gotten from conversation some critiques, but he said that they were for the good. He said like added more perception into his art pieces. Whatever. We talked about like his whole
mm, like
idea about
artistic
artistic
journey.
journey. This is really magical, like, just seeing it and having conversations. And artists are always the most intellectual people I'll ever meet.
Also, I feel like it's important to have these exhibitions and this community just because there is so many people that are creative and have the ability to create art, but they might not have or have had the opportunity to share their art. So this is like really important to actually let them have the opportunity to share their art and them feedback and really use it as motivation. Nicole just said, like, Franco, that kind of like motivated him and made him feel like a real artist. So that was his own self motivation. Other people may do that as well. So it's important to have the space to like open it up to other people, not just people who are creating art and already publishing it, but others who might be interested in it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I feel like something very magical about like the space that we magical. I don't know if that's the right word, but it sounds like Disney. But yeah, something very special about like the space that we're in is people are very open minded and supportive, and exactly this. Like we get excited, like we see these people, or yeah, we see these artists that where like you see their journey, you get excited, and I think it's very different. Like the exhibitions we've done with like the campus compared to exhibitions that I've done with like my internship and I've with
Mm-hmm.
the gallery that I work to and I've gone with, and you can just tell like people are. I do see this like elitist like pretentiousness in those kind of events. Um, I mean, at the end of the day, like yeah, like if you're trying to sell art, there is going to be competition. That's like in anything. So I guess there can be this essence of pretentiousness, but I think since we're working with digital art and it's something so emerging, and I think a lot of people are still fighting to make it legitimate, but it's happening. I think like a lot of museums are incorporating digital art,
Mm-hmm.
and it's growing. But overall, I think the artists we always are around are very experimentative. Experimentative? Is that a word?
That's it.
Mental? I don't know.
Experimental? That's the word I was looking for. I mean, yeah, like we're just like thinking shout out to Anthony. We've never met in person,
Mm.
but we love you so much and love the support. But we think you're truly an amazing artist, just in
Mm.
how I mean, you've been creating for art for so long, and now you. I mean, yeah, you're probably like the age of like my grandfather, and you probably know better how to use AI and Midjourney than I do. But it's really amazing, like seeing your artworks and then seeing like the beginning and just people are. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like you're a person that's always creating and experimenting and continuously will
Mm-hmm.
always do that. And I think with this new movement, we're always surrounded by people that have this likeness of wanting to continue experimenting. And it's so refreshing because no one is being pretentious about it because no one really knows what's going to stick and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about exchanging ideas and I don't know, I just think
Yeah.
it's really great.
Maybe there's an element in that about like not really caring about what other people think. Like not even caring, but like not paying them mind to like what they might say about you. I don't know. But yeah. Silence. Guys, I think we're all talked out today.
Well, yeah, we've been yapping for 44 minutes now
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
longer. But we'll
Yeah.
this was fun and we're okay. Seriously, this is
Time
gonna
to
have to
get
cut
down to
this.
earth.
Here comes all the thoughts.
Been flouting.
Flouted. Yeah. Well, that's it from us, guys. And it's been so lovely chatting with you two. I really hope that everyone who has listened to this podcast has a great Sunday and has a
and
great rest of their week. And keep creating, keep being you. Love from Soph.
Nicole and
Mariano.
Mariano. He's finally here.
Yeah.
But I
But
was able
yeah,
to join, guys. Thank you.
yeah, of
Yeah.
course. And we love you all, artists creating out there. You're inspiration. You are the. We
Yeah.
won't stop this time.
Let's set some intentions for the week.
Mhm.
It's going to be a great week. We're all going to create something that we like. And we're all going to be kind to each other.
And and community, be community, and interact with one another. Sometimes, I mean, even if you isolate yourself, sometimes I feel like when I'm stressed, I'll isolate myself. But what you need is to talk to other people. Human
Yeah.
energy helps a lot. So everyone, it's a time of year we're all burnt out, but just gotta keep going and remember
Keep
these three
going.
things: intention, creativity, and community.
And kindness.